Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to work about this particular concept. So identifying managed services, managed AWS services, for example, Amazon RDS, Elastic Container Service, Elastic Kubernetes Service, and Dynamo DB. So we will look at each of these services, how it actually works in terms of the hands-on. In terms of architecture, I just want to make you understand the difference between a self-managed service and a managed service. You can call it like a partially managed service as well, or not managed service at all. So in case like if you're hosting an application on your data center using a virtual machine, your Linux administrator would actually create a your firstly your VMware administrator would provision a server instance, and then the installation of the operating system will be done by the Linux admin. And then once the operating system is installed, then the Oracle database administrators will install the Oracle software on the server once the network firewall is all completed. And then you insert the application data or your customer data into the database, and then as administrator you'll be able to access it like the database administrator, and then the applications would connect to the database and start the transaction. So this is what a typical self-managed service would look like. When you go for AWS EC2 instance, there are two items which is going to be taken off your hands. One is like the virtual machine creation and as well as the operating system installation. So these two things will be done by EC2. EC2 will get you the proper instance type and the operating system, and then it will give you a key file, and you using that key file you can access it. So directly the Oracle administrator will actually come in and install the Oracle software and then approve the licensing and stuff like that. And then he will insert the customer data and he will have access to that application, and then the third-party applications would connect to Oracle database. So this you can call it like a partially managed service, because partially it is managed by EC2, okay, where the server creation, server allocation, and the operating system installation is all done by Amazon itself. Okay, now we talk about something called managed services. So there are these many managed services available in AWS. Okay, some are displayed over here, but there are a lot of managed services available. But we are going to in turn understand about the RDS right now, relational database services. So now as we have the Oracle database involved here, so all we have to do is like go to RDS, say that I need a database, say that I need Oracle database. Okay, so Oracle database comes with a self-managed key, bring your own license. So you have to manage that licensing part of it. So that, it's always told by AWS at the time of creation. And all you have to do is like, once you hit the create button, you will have a Oracle database which is ready. All you have to do is like find a way to access it, insert the customer data, use the administrator to work with it, and have the applications connected to that Oracle database. How easy and simple it is, right? So from the server allocation, server creation, operating system installation, software installation, all those things will be taken care. Okay, you don't really have to do or worry about that. You have at the time of this, the creation of Oracle database, you may have to choose what kind of instance you want this to run on, because based on the instance, you will be charged. And then based on the software as well, like the licensing part of it will be charged with that. And what it will basically do is like, it will give you the processing power, and the software component comes pre-installed. All you have to do is like start inserting the customer data, and the application should be redirected to the Oracle, okay, for it to work with. No need for firewall configurations or anything like that, because it already comes with pre-configured. Because at the time of installation itself, you would have told whether this needs to be accessed from an existing VPC, or it needs to create a new VPC, or it will have a public access. All those things you will see it right now. Okay, so let's do that. Let's create a RDS. Okay, I'm not going to completely go ahead with that process. Just type RDS over here. You can see the relational database service over here. Just click on that. I always do a middle click so that it opens on a new tab. And as you can see over here, Aurora IO Optimized is a new cluster storage configuration that offers predictable pricing for all applications and improved price performance up to 40% cost savings. So there's a new introduction to a new service over here, and that's basically talks about it. So here we don't have any kind of database instances available right now. Now you can see that pretty much this is your database related stuff. Okay. So now you can also take snapshot of the database. You can also create a reverse instance for your database, and then you can create database cluster up to 40. Now go to database and you can click on create new database. Now you can create a standard create or easy create. Easy create is much more easier. It will ask you less questions. A standard create is much recommended because it will ask you some good questions actually, which is really required for you. So you can go for MariaDB, MySQL, and then you can go for Oracle as well. But there are certain databases which requires you to bring your own license. So you can see that IBM DB2 says that licenses bring your own or through AWS Marketplace. So you have to click on this if you want to know about what is the charges for you to use this DB2 licensing. You can see that. When you go here, it will open up the DB2 Marketplace over here, and you can actually understand the cost of it. So the cost is 1.04 per hour, I guess, per unit. Sorry about that. So this is a Harley license. Yeah, it is 1.04 per hour. So that's going to be on 2 virtual CPUs over here on 1 VPC, which is going to be 2 threads. So if you're going to add more virtual CPUs, you got to pay more actually. So because it is also based upon the license is based upon hourly basis, but then it is calculated into whatever the number of VPCs you have over there. So if it's going to be 4 VPC, it's going to be 2.08. That's how it's going to be. So that's the pricing model over here. You can also read some description about this, what this is about, which version is going to be installed as part of this, and on all those things you can see it. So by default, if you're going to say like through Marketplace, and the billing is going to happen, and you will see the final billing per month utilization. Monthly cost is $884 USD. This is including the DB2 instance, the storage, and the provisioned IOPS input output per second. So likewise, you have the option of choosing some of these items and then disabling it, but you should see that provisioned IOPS over here. So if you really don't want provisioned IOPS over here, you can go for general purpose SSD, which will again save a heap amount of money over here for you guys. But according to the recommendation, you should have performance oriented IOPS, which will give you greater performance. Another thing which you will see over here is the sizing, the instance configuration, the instance type. These are pre-configured, preloaded instances. I'm sorry, I just lost where it is. Okay, so these are some of this one. So you have only some instances which is custom configured for this kind of a database setup. That name of the family name is M6i, but it says DB over here on the starting because it's a custom made for your RDS or hosting database. And this is family name is M6i, and this is a large. Okay, so like you have 8x large, you have M6IDN, and you can see that it comes with a network of 25,000 Mbps with an instance storage of 1.9 terabytes of NVMe SSD. Now, when you select something like this, your cost is going to go high, like literally going to high to $6,983. So likewise, you have Oracle as well. And what are you going to get at the end of it? So this is the only option over here for Oracle. So bring your old license. And what is the end result of this? What happens when I select MySQL and then I hit a create button? So this is 11,386 USD per month. It's going to be because of provisional IOPS is about 900 and DB instance is about 10,000 because I have chosen the highest version of that. That is the reason. So here I can choose for something which is of a lower size, so I don't get charged so much for it. So this is 1400, still it's higher. It's because of provision IOPS. So these are something which you need to work out, and it's about 496. So I don't think we can reduce it any more than that. By creating a DB instance without a cluster, we'll actually have this reduced. I'm going to go for dev and test DB single. Now this should get us to $176. So you can see that the price is reduced because we're not going for clustering, and that has reduced the cost to the minimum. So this is the version of MySQL. So now what happens is that when in these questions, right, there's going to be another question whether you going to access your database from public access. Normally we say no, but you never know in your situations. It could be yes as well. And you can also see the existing VPCs used over here so that the IP range can be existing ones. You can also create a Bastion host and then access that this particular server through a Bastion host as well. So that is also another option if you have disabled the public access as no. And then here in the database authentication option, you can use password authentication and password and IAM database authentication. You can create IAM user for it and Kerberos authentication as well. So likewise, you have multiple ways of authenticating within the database. And then here, the performance insight will give you 7 days free trial. You can disable that if you don't want the performance insight. And then you can hit the create button. So what's going to happen when I hit the create button? You're going to have a database which is ready, and all you can do is like access that database directly and start working with it. I'm not going to do that right now because we are not in the stage of doing all those things, and neither do you have to do it right now because it's all cost incurring items over it. These are not part of free trials, so please be careful while you do the create button because that's going to incur some basic charges, at least for an hourly charges. It's going to tick in. So that's pretty much what I want to show you on towards the RDS one in terms of working with RDS. You have other services like ECS, which is a container service. You have EKS, which is Kubernetes service. And then you have DynamoDB. DynamoDB. Again, this is NoSQL database, so that's also managed. So these are some of the things which we are actually asked to check out in the, in our course. So let's just do a checking. So container service is using Docker container to create containers and host our applications into the container. Okay, so it will create a container infrastructure when you create the cluster. So here you specify what kind of a container you want. You want a serverless container or EC2 container. EC2 means that you can actually select the type instance. Fargate is a serverless container, which actually gives you zero maintenance overhead, and you don't have to worry about EC2 instances because it's going to have Fargate spot capacity. So that's going to do that. When you compare the Kubernetes services, so this is going to where you have Kubernetes items over here. So you can either register or create a cluster. Register means the existing cluster can be registered in the EKS. And here you give the version of Kubernetes, and then here you give the other details about the Kubernetes API, and then click on next. And then there is this network specification, configure observability, and then some add-ons. Then you can create your EKS cluster. So these are different ways of doing it. But anyways, we will see in detail later. And here in terms of the DynamoDB, we have the Amazon DynamoDB. This is a fast and flexible NoSQL database, which is very useful for scaling. So to create a very simple create table and basically give the name of the table and whatever you want to insert as a table default setting. So you can do that, and then you can create a table. So this will be a NoSQL database, so you don't need to run any kind of a MySQL Oracle database under it. So you can also export data to S3 and import data from S3 as well, and to be part of the tables which you're creating as part of DynamoDB. All right, pretty much that is what we wanted to cover on this video. So we have seen all these services as well. Thank you again for your patience and time. If you have any questions, leave it in the question sections. Don't worry that I'm not going in deep into it, because it's not required to go in deep for the cloud concept. So we are going to understand the concepts of cloud, and this is what we are doing. And this would be the questions is all about. They will be asking you questions about is DynamoDB a managed service or a non-managed service, something like that. It's going to be. So you have to know some of these names, some of the concepts here, so that you can answer those questions appropriately. Thank you again for your patience and time. I'll see you on the next one.